The building is 2242 Bennett Avenue, a 56-unit co-op in the Hudson Heights section of Manhattan. The man is Paul Backalenick. He doesn't look like a business school graduate, but he is. He is also the owner of his own web design firm. He has been the president of this co-op for nearly 3 years. And although he brings a gee-whiz manner to much of what he does, he takes his role on the board very seriously.
It's a volunteer job, and why does anyone do a volunteer job? It's to do something useful in the world above and beyond what you do for money. And this is a way in which I found that I like to give back.
He has served on 3 boards, a condo in Boston, a co-op on East 23rd Street in Manhattan, and now this co-op. In 2 out of the 3, he eventually became president. He likes to have, as he puts it, knowledge and control. Yet there is a time to control and a time to collaborate.
It's got to be collaborative. You can't be having fights with people. Recently, we've had an opportunity to put in storage units in the building, and there was a lot of discussion about whether the building should pay for the storage units and have them constructed at our expense, and then we would own them and rent them out and make that revenue. Versus a company, I guess I can say the name, Bargold. Bargold happens to be a company which will, for free, install storage units in your building, and then they pay you a small percentage, like 25% of the rental from the units. So you get less money, but they take all the financial risk. We don't spend a dime. Of the 7 board members, I would say probably 4 of them were, leaning toward having Bargold underwrite it, and we couldn't seem to just come to a general agreement. A lot of times we don't even have to take a vote. You just can sense that this is how everyone agrees, and we just sort of all nod, and yes, we proceed with whatever that decision is. That wasn't happening with the storage units. So as much as I wanted to sort of collaborate and arrive at an agreement, a consensus, we couldn't get there. So I finally said, well, I think I'm going to make an executive decision here, and we're going to go with Bargold now.
He came to power after an unpopular president was ousted from the board in an election that was filled with rancor over the state of disrepair in the building.
Nobody wanted the role of president because it's like putting a target on your back, the previous president. So I was sort of a logical person to take on the role. So I said, all right, I'll give it a shot.
The former president was reportedly autocratic. The new president, however, believes in communication and consensus and brings his skill as a speech-making consultant salesman to the job. He says he has changed the way the board operates, and as we ate lunch, he explained why he felt communication and consensus are so essential to the smooth operations of a building.
The thing I tried to do was have more communication with the shareholders. I think that had been a problem with the prior board. I've read that that's the #1 complaint in co-ops and condos throughout the world. The shareholders do not receive enough information about what's going on behind the scenes, what the board is doing. So I initiated a monthly email that goes out to all the shareholders, and we post signs. We try to keep people more informed than they were before, and I think that has helped a bit. People have complimented us on that.
To make ends meet, the board imposed a 14% maintenance increase. That's a hefty sum for any building, but especially so for one that is mostly filled with middle and fixed income residents.
And the reason we had to do it, 9% of that 14%, was to fund a mortgage, a second mortgage, actually a construction loan, for a repair of the roof and parapets that were leaking badly. It had to be done, I mean, you can't disregard a badly leaking roof. It will only get worse. And the engineers who looked at it said ultimately the walls could collapse. I mean, you could destroy your building. You have to do it. So we didn't have the money in the bank. It's over $500,000. We had to raise it. So we went and got a loan, which wasn't easy to get because we already had a mortgage on the property. You have to carry 1 mortgage typically. So now we have a second mortgage. Well, this second mortgage was for $750,000, and $750,000 translated into monthly payments that amounted to 9% more than we had been paying on our maintenance. So I remember thinking, last spring, I don't need this aggravation. This is really hard, and nobody's going to be happy with this big maintenance increase that's eventually going to come down the line. And I'm doing the best I can, but it was a huge headache.
Nonetheless, through communication, consensus, and a dogged determination not evident in his manner, Backalenick perseveres, and his building is the better for it.
And people say, why do you do a thankless job? And I think that's it. And also, it's not thankless. I mean, more than once people have said to me, thank you for the work you're doing. We appreciate it.